how did you get into murals? And like what do you love about creating murals? And if you can break down that process for me, I would love
Hmm.
to know that.
Okay. Well, I wanted to create murals in college. Murals weren't like trendy like they are now when
Yeah.
I was in school, but there were definitely some muralists. I don't even think they exist. This guy named Blue, BLU. I like can't even find his work anymore. But there was like a few muralists or like Public Beautiful Losers was kind of part of that. They made a lot of bigger public works, the people in that collective. But uh I just was fascinated by it and I always wanted to do it. And I liked the idea that it didn't exist in the white cube. Like in art, the white cube is like the gallery setting. It's plain white
Yeah.
walls, you can't touch anything. Um, and that's a space where people are like non-art people are mostly really intimidated to walk in somewhere like that because they don't know what they're talking about or whatever. Museums and galleries can kind of feel like not very inclusive to people
Yeah.
who don't know how to speak about art. And so I was always interested because I started in fine art photography and then I switched to illustration. So I kind of switched from something that exists in that white cube to something that's more for everybody. But I was
Mhm.
still in between. Like I wasn't necessarily super interested in someone telling me a message that I have to then relay. I wanted to relay my own message, but to everybody.
Yeah.
So my senior project, my thesis, I like made these big, well, they seemed big to me at the time, but it was like 15 by 8 foot canvas. And I painted on them and I rolled them up. And then I would just take them different places around LA and like hang them up. And then I would stand and just ask people what they thought about them. They were like walking around because I was just interested in how someone who isn't in that world would interact with the thing or like be if they were interested or not or what. So that was kind of my project and I made a book about it because I recorded all the conversations and all the different places and then I took photos everywhere. I hung them up. um so that was kind of my first um part of that. And then I didn't really paint any murals until I got to Denver, and that just started. I just painted one in my house because I was like I'm going to. And then um this coffee shop, it's art, such an art thing. Then the coffee shop was
Then
like
the coffee shop is the first in line to go, "Hey,
yeah.
I'll help."
Yeah. Well, and
I
I
like art.
strategically spent a lot of time at this coffee shop. I'm also just like a coffee shop person.
Yeah.
I would like spend hours and hours drawing and reading and just being at a coffee shop. So this specific one who had remembered me because I was always there drawing, followed me on Instagram, was like, "Hey, would you want to paint something like that on our wall?" And I was like, "Absolutely, yes." So I painted this coffee shop called Huckleberry Roasters, and I lettered. I'm very into lettering too, and I always have been. So I lettered "Don't stop, get it" on the wall with like my colorful. I call them noodles, which is a very technical term for like my light, colorful line work. And yeah, so then after that, it just like I don't know, it just started, and people started asking me, and then it's been 3 years of just constantly making murals, which is my favorite thing to do. So um yeah, and then the process, it kind of depends on who I'm painting it for, but usually it's like they've seen something that I did, they like it, they want it similar, or
Mhm.
have another like aspect to it. Maybe they have some colors that they're really interested in. Um and then I create like a few designs. Maybe it needs a change or two.
Mhm.
Um, the best clients, it's so funny, the clients that never, that think that art isn't worth anything and don't want to pay for it, they want tons of changes and they want it exactly how they want it.
That's
And
the
then the
same
people
thing
who
that
are ready
yeah,
to throw money at
I
it
hear, yeah.
see the first thing and they're like, it's great, we love it.
I hear that with
So
artists too. I've been talking
yeah,
to other artists. Yeah.
it's funny. So I've started to be like, if you're not interested in paying for it and you're trying to talk me down a lot, I can feel that it's going to be the worst project.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not going to like the end result. So I've gotten smarter that way. But yeah, and then I mean, I don't know how many specifics you want, but yeah, I pick out colors, I buy paint, I have my whole setup, I roll up, I paint it, I sketch it. Like some people,
Yeah. What is the technical process when you like, okay, so you got a wall.
yeah,
What are the steps you take to create a mural from like start to finish?
I just sketch freehand. Unless I'm doing lettering, then I
Okay.
will um draw my lettering like on Procreate and then um tile print it. Is actually not the best way. I should have gotten a projector a long time ago, but I just haven't, so I just keep rolling with it. But I tile print it on paper. I have a printer that does like bigger sheets of paper, so I don't have to use 1,000 8.5 by 11s. But
Okay.
and then I use transfer paper, which is like paper that has like chalk on one side, kind of. So you put that between the paper and the wall, and then just trace my own design. And then I pull it off, and there's basically chalk on the wall. And then I paint
Oh,
my design from there. Um, but all the abstract stuff I just freehand because it just works better that way, and I'm just more comfortable with that. And you kind of gotta like move with the space, especially in my work. Like
okay.
it kind of, it has to feel right in the space, and doing it in the computer or just drawing it on paper is always different than what it feels like in real life. And
Yeah.
then
And that,
yeah, I just paint the background usually first, or like the colors that suck that I love to use, like yellow or yellow green takes like 500 coats, so I always do that first because it's going to take a million coats. And then yeah, lettering is last if it has lettering or any sort of black. And then if I wheat paste, which is like the photography aspect, that's a whole different process.
what was that last one? The wheat
Wheat
paste?
paste, which is like if you see the murals that have like black and white photography included in them, um
Okay.
that's called wheat pasting. And it's like wallpaper paste mixed with acrylic, and you have to like, it's basically glue, so you like put glue on the wall, then you put paper, like a printed imagery on it, and then you like smooth it out and then paste on top of it. And then I usually paint on top of that with my colors.
Wow.
So it's kind of like collage and abstract at the same time.